Oh yeah, beautiful day here in the neighborhood. Not very many people though, which is okay. Here's me hanging out at the beach, and here's me half naked. And here is the ladybug that landed on my finger, and then hopped in the plane, and I'm getting ready to fly back. And that should be, that's an interesting trip. So here I am getting ready to take off on runway 3. I am taking the runway after doing all my run-ups. If you look in the picture, you can see the Skylink Mini sitting right there on the dash. That's how cool that is. However, they've changed the way that they are pricing it, and they've taken it really out of the hands of the common man. They say you can only use it in vehicles under 100 miles an hour, and that's almost stalling speed for my plane. And then you can only use it, or if you do, they're going to charge you 5 times what they normally charge and give you 1/5 the service. So, I don't see me using that. And it's a sad thing because right there it is. And it was a really great addition to my plane. Make it so that I could have full Wi-Fi. So here I am taking off on runway 3 off of first flight. And I am climbing out. There's wires, electric wires right there. And the wild thing is, they put these orange balls everywhere whenever you're coming into an airport that you're not sure of. And there's no orange balls on that, so you best be aware that there is electric wires off the end of the runway there. So then we're turning towards home. We're taking off to the east. You can see it's a gorgeous day. Taking off to the east, and we're going to head towards home. So Hampton Roads Executive Airport. We're making a turn here. Got my gear coming up. I'm climbing out, and then I'm going to fly it on back. As I go along, you can see the fog that's creeping in off of the ocean there, and it's covering up the land along the coast. Fortunately, at my home airport there was no fog, so I didn't have to worry about it. So here I am cruising along, climbing up to 2,500 and headed more or less northwest. A little bit of turbulence in the beginning, not very much. You can see the planes getting buffeted by some wind. If you look also in the bottom of the picture, you can see where I mounted my phone, and that's a new addition to the plane also. And that was going to be so that I could have the phone on and the Wi-Fi going, and then I would be able to see if I needed to look at the Wi-Fi. It would alert me, and I was going to Bluetooth that into my headset, but alas, that's not going to work. So I'm looking at the Garmin InReach Messenger Plus, and that allows me to make texts, make voice texts, and also send photos. And that is really all I need it for. I don't really need it for much of anything else. Yeah. And there's that fog that I was talking about coming in off the coast there. That yellow bag's kind of casting a shadow. I wish I had taken that off of there. I'll do it on the next one. So anyway, flying along. It's a nice flight. It's actually pretty smooth. I know that they're taking off. There was a little bit of turbulence, but really not bad. And then here we are, cruising up the coast and headed back to Hampton Roads Executive. There's that fog. You can start to see it pretty good. When I flew by one of the airports, it was almost completely fogged in. And I was a little bit shocked in thinking that, wow, if I was based at that airport, I'd have a hard time flying in and out of it. Anyway, I did see the military planes. There's a big old 135 that cruises up and down here out of Elizabeth City, and sometimes you'll see him. I did see him, but I don't think I caught him on camera. He was out there cruising around. I think they just do a lot of training flights and maybe some search and rescue, but I doubt there was anybody overboard. Maybe it was a practice search and rescue. I think they do a lot of that. Yeah, right down in those in that fog is Currituck Airport, and you can see it's pretty well socked in. Even though it's a gorgeous, beautiful day up here, it's you'd have a hard time flying out of there. I suppose you could. Maybe it's thin. Maybe they can see okay down there, but it looks pretty foggy from here. this next clip, we're coming into the airport here on right downwind for runway 10, and then we're going to turn right base, and then final for runway 10 here at Papa Victor Golf, at my home airport. So here we are making the right hand turn. There's the airport, and we're gonna start to descend. We got the flaps down, we got the main gear down, we are adjusting all the power and the mixture and the prop. Everything's all set up for landing. And as you get closer to the ground, you get this ground effect, and that's what tosses the plane around a little bit. But this was not a bad landing as landings go. Yep, so here we are getting off the main runway 10, and we're going to taxi back to my hangar, which is right in front of us. But I have to make a few turns. There was a Seneca, a twin Seneca, that was coming up the taxiway, so I had to hurry up and kind of get out of his way. I wasn't sure if he was going to be. There is a Seneca that lives on our hangar row, but this was not him. So then I taxied on down in there, but there was the same group has a Cherokee 6, and so I was coming into the hangar area there, and there's my Cherokee 6 hanging out, and not my Cherokee 6, but their Cherokee 6. So I had to wait for them. Anyway, at the same time, there was a tug being pulled by, and I was like, oh, how cool. I don't think I'll be able to afford it, though. It's about $5,000. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. We'll see you again on another Friday adventure. Cheers.